I strongly recommend spending more time with people who have been single for a long time and still live full, satisfying lives. Why? Not because being single makes them better than everyone else, and not because relationships automatically make people lose themselves. But when someone can build a stable and meaningful life without a partner constantly providing attention, validation, and emotional support, it usually means they have developed a rare ability. They have not outsourced their entire life to a relationship. Do you know someone like that? They may have been single for years, but they are not constantly anxious about why they have not found someone. They do not believe a weekend without a date is a wasted weekend. They have friends, interests, routines, and plans of their own. They can eat alone, go to a movie alone, travel alone, and handle the ordinary problems of life without feeling that something essential is missing. Of course, they still experience loneliness, and they still need support. The difference is that they do not put their life on hold simply because they do not currently have a partner. Why does spending time with someone like this often feel so easy? Because you can be an important part of their life without becoming responsible for keeping their entire life running. They do not expect you to respond immediately at all hours. They do not assume you no longer care because you were busy for a day. They do not unload every emotion onto you and then make you responsible for fixing it. They can express what they need and they can ask for help. But they do not hand one person complete responsibility for regulating their emotions. So where do many of us go wrong? The problem is not that we care too deeply, it is that we become too dependent on relationships to give us a sense of existence. When no one is available, we do not know what to do with the weekend. When a message goes unanswered, we start wondering whether we still matter. When a relationship becomes uncertain, our sleep, work, and emotional stability collapse with it. You may think this simply means you love the other person deeply, but the deeper problem may be that you have handed them control over your security, your sense of worth, and even whether you are allowed to have a good day. What happens when you give someone that much power? One expression, one delayed message, or one period of silence can determine your entire emotional state. You are no longer simply building a relationship. You are asking that relationship to prove that you are lovable, that you have not been abandoned, and that your life is complete. Any relationship forced to carry all of those responsibilities eventually becomes heavy. People who have learned to live well while single often understand something important. A relationship can enrich your life, but it cannot replace your life. They do not save all of their time and energy for a future partner who may or may not appear. They do not stop doing what matters to them because they have no one to accompany them. They want connection, but they do not use connection to fill every empty space in their lives. They also tend to have their own rhythm. Even when they enter a relationship, they do not immediately abandon their friendships, interests, routines, and personal goals. They do not treat being together every minute as the only proof of love. They can care deeply about someone while keeping their own judgment. They can enjoy closeness while respecting the fact that both people still need time alone. Why can that make a relationship stronger? Because two people are sharing lives they have already built, instead of demanding that the other person fill every missing piece. People with this kind of independence often have clearer boundaries as well. They can say, "I need your help," but they can also say, "I cannot do that." They can care about someone's feelings without abandoning their principles every time the other person becomes upset. They do not try to earn love through endless sacrifice, and they do not use emotional distance to prove that they are independent. Healthy boundaries do not mean, "I do not need anyone." They mean, "I can need you without losing myself." Of course, being single for a long time does not automatically make someone mature, and being in a long-term relationship does not automatically make someone dependent. Some people remain single for years while still fearing loneliness and struggling with boundaries. Some people stay in relationships for decades while maintaining a strong, independent sense of self. The real difference is not whether someone has a partner. It is whether they can remain emotionally and practically stable when a relationship is not available to support them. Ask yourself a few questions. If no one were available to spend this weekend with you, could you still create a life you enjoy? When you feel low, do you have any way to steady yourself besides repeatedly asking one person whether they still care about you? When you enter a relationship, do you keep your friendships, interests, and long-term goals? Those questions matter more than, "When am I finally going to meet someone?" because they determine whether you enter a future relationship to share a life or to find someone who will hold your life together for you. So, how do you build this ability? Start by creating a life that does not require a romantic relationship in order to function. Do not wait until someone can join you before you go to a movie, travel, exercise, learn something new, or try an activity you have always wanted to do. Learn to separate the emotions you need to process yourself from the problems where it makes sense to ask for support. Healthy independence does not mean forcing yourself to handle everything alone. It means refusing to turn one person into your only emotional outlet. And even when you enter a relationship, keep your own friends, interests, and personal goals. Do not place every source of meaning and attention onto your partner. What changes when you can build a good life on your own? You stop holding on to the wrong person simply because you are afraid of being alone. You stop interpreting every busy day or delayed reply as proof that you are not valuable. You stop treating "someone loves me" as your only evidence that your life is going well. You enter a relationship not because you cannot survive alone, but because that person makes an already meaningful life even richer. That is why I recommend spending more time with people who have been single for a long time and still live stable, fulfilling lives. Not because you should copy their relationship status, but because you can learn from the way they organize their lives, handle loneliness, express their needs, and protect their boundaries. The valuable quality is not singleness itself. It is the fact that they have not made any relationship responsible for carrying their entire life. The people most ready for a healthy relationship are often the people who do not need a relationship in order to survive. When someone can already care for themselves, they are no longer looking for a person to rescue them. They are looking for someone with whom they can share the life they have already built. Do not rush to find someone who will fill the empty spaces inside you. First, build a life that can keep moving even when no one else is there. Real growth is not finally finding someone who makes you complete. It is becoming a whole person first, and still having the capacity to love someone deeply.